Today, Saudi Arabia is one of the most significant countries in the world. It is the largest exporter of oil in the world, and it currently fights in the Syrian and Yemeni civil wars. It's also one of the very few countries in the world that doesn't claim to be democratic. In this video, we'll talk about how Saudi Arabia came to be so large, but also all the other things that happened in the Middle East during World War I. It's not a widely talked about topic on YouTube, therefore I think I should cover the Arabian fighting during World War I. The story starts in 1891, when the House of Saud was overthrown by the Emirate of Hayil, as the survivors fled to Kuwait. But the Kuwaiti prince gave them some weapons and some horses to retake their lost land. In 1902, 11 years after losing power, 68 men under the House of Saud would storm the city of Riyadh and retake the city from 80 Hayil defenders. The Saudis had retaken their capital city. It wasn't over though. Hayil would one day return and attempt to get revenge on the Saudis. For now, what was left of Hayil came under the domination of the Ottoman Empire. Speaking of the Ottomans, you'll never guess who the Saudis' next target was. Now you may be wondering how such a tiny country could possibly take on the might of the Ottoman Empire, even if they were known as the sick man of Europe. Look at the size comparison, except for a tiny part that wasn't even properly connected to the rest of the Ottoman Empire, so that the Ottoman Empire couldn't even get any reinforcements to that part when Saudi invaded. Oh wait! The Ottoman Empire couldn't get any reinforcements to that part when Saudi invaded. So, right before World War I began, as the Ottoman Empire lost control of Libya, the Balkans, and almost lost Constantinople to Bulgaria, Saudi marched in and occupied part of the southern territories of the Ottoman Empire. But the Ottomans wouldn't have much time to do anything about it though, because World War I had begun, and they were a part of it. The Ottomans had been losing ground in Arabia for a while now. Yemen had declared independence, and they had been forced to make significant concessions to bring Yemen back under their control. And similarly, and by the way I know this is an Ottoman, the British had lost control of Oman as they had asserted their independence. This war would be an opportunity for even more independence movements to spring up. Asir declared independence. Remember how earlier in the video I talked about how Hayil would seek revenge? Yeah, my prediction was right. How on earth did I know? 15 to 1800 forces from Hayil invaded Saudi Arabia with the support of the Ottoman Empire. The Saudis had the support of the British and 2,000 men, so they outnumbered Hayil. And despite this, it was a disaster. 600 Saudis were lost that day, and one of those 600 casualties was a British military advisor sent to them, a British military advisor known as William Shakespeare. So after a bunch more countries declared independence and the Ottoman Empire collapsed, the Sauds decided to invade Kuwait. This wouldn't work, however. The British and the Kuwaitis managed to stop them. Iraq attempted to overthrow their British conquerors. They failed. Newly independent Syria ended up at war with the French and lost. The Al-Mutari tribe became effectively a puppet of the Sauds. The Ikhwan tribe, living in Saudi Arabia, launched a series of raids against Jordan, and Jordan had to be saved by the British. Finally, the House of Saud decided it was probably a good idea to take over the rest of Arabia and get themselves a southwestern coast. So between 1924 and 1925, they invaded the Kingdom of Hejaz, which had declared independence from the Ottoman Empire in 1916. It fell very quickly. Then between 1925 and 27, the Syrians launched a failed independence war against France. They lost. But yes, with the fall of Hejaz, most of the Arabian Peninsula, except for the British-controlled territories in the south, was under Saudi Arabian control. Yes, there will be a Kahoot quiz on this one, so take some notes.